Hare It's coincidence, nice coincidence, that it's also someone's birthday. So I won't say who it is, so hopefully it'll make you more excited to chant along to give this person a blessing. So, nice and easy. Do we all know the mantra, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu, Dwaratam Samapromakam, Narasinham Vishnam Bhadram Nacham Namamyaham? No? Ugram Viram Mahavishnu, Dwaratam Samapromakam, Narasinham Vishnam Bhadram Nacham Namamyaham. Ugram Viram Mahavishnu, Dwaratam Samapromakam, Narasinham Vishnam Bhadram Nacham Namamyaham. Namamyaham.
Before you heard all the cantatas, like the stories that were told, some of them a little bit. Huh? So before we heard the stories of the Satyanarayana, some of them might sound a little bit extreme. You have listened. The last one? Which one? The lion one? Not the last one. The last one was the camel.
Yeah.
You can handle one.
So you see in those stories, there's a different procedure or different certain, how to say, structure or certain things we continuously see. It starts with what? How does our spiritual path start? Huh? Narada. Ah, you mean, okay. I thought, how does our spiritual path start? It's like with Narada. You were asked for Narada, that's nice. How does all our spiritual path, what is it rooted in? Huh?
Looking for happiness?
Pain, looking for happiness.
What's the question?
Huh?
What's the question?
How does the spiritual path start?
Feeling that something is missing.
Hearing.
Something's missing. You said something's missing.
Feeling
Feeling that something is missing.
Feeling that something is missing.
Very nice. Yeah.
Okay. And then
Suffering.
suffering, sure. It's a
Hearing
great
about
gift.
Krishna.
I'm looking for a teacher.
Looking for a teacher. Here he is. And so there is suffering, there is a missing of something, there is a search, and then we go on a search. Yeah, and then you find life guides you through different steps on a certain path. So now you're, for example, here in this beautiful temple of Radharani. Radharani, who is herself this utmost, highest love, which we all seek. You are in Bhakti Marga right now, in the path of love and devotion. We did a puja, we did puja to the Ganesh, to remove his obstacles, to Vishvakshena, who is the general of the army, to also remove all obstacles. He's like in the Sri Sampradaya, in the Vaishnava tradition, he's the third in line, no? Narayana gives the information to Lakshmi, and Lakshmi gives it to Vishvakshena, who then is all over the universe. He takes care of the whole universe, he's the general, and then he passes it on to Ram Alvar and all the other Alvars, which then have brought this high knowledge down. And we did puja to the Navagraha, to the 9 planets, which doesn't necessarily mean that the influence of the planets is reduced, but it's more to acknowledge that we all connected to the cosmos, and that they have an influence on us, and that we are able to deal with those influences in a certain way, because they're related to our karma, which is all part of our life. To connect with that, to appease it, to align with it. The Ganapati Panchaloka Palaka, where we worship Ganesha, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Parvati, which all represent something. No, Ganesha, as we already said, wisdom and the one who removes obstacles. Brahma, what is Brahma?
Creation.
Creation. He's also the husband of Saraswati, so wisdom. Vishnu, what is Vishnu for? Maintenance. So, to preserve what is created. What is Shiva? Destroying. Destroying, or what is destruction doing? Because destruction sometimes sounds negative, no? But
Transform.
what is it? Transformation. You need to remove things to, again, bring something new. And Parvati, Mother Nature, Shakti, power, energy, all of elements which, yes, they are deities, but they are also energies which are within us, no? The removal of obstacles, that we are not falling for our own stupidity, to have the wisdom to follow a proper path, to maintain that path, to remove what is not needed, to have the power to uphold it. Then we do puja to the Ashtadipalaka, to the 8 directions which are governed again by certain deities, no? The east, Indra, the south, Yama. No? So all the different directions are governed by a certain aspect of God. They're not separated from the one. They are like the president and his different like ministers and guys who do their job. But again, we acknowledge there is a space, and the space is governed by certain forces, and we honor those forces, and we worship those forces, we appease them, we create a space, a safe space here while we do the prayer, and also in our life. They are all important steps for our spiritual path. No? To first remove the obstacles, to align with our karma, to be in line with what is our call, to create a space which permits our spiritual path. And then obviously Sudarshana, who is, what is the Sudarshana? Krishna's weapon. Krishna's weapon, the disc. Sudarshana means also the auspicious sight. Sudarshana is an auspicious weapon. It's time itself, it's Kala, it's the one which controls everything. It's the most powerful weapon which exists. It's protection for a devotee. It's the highest protection which exists, the Sudarshana. It's that which is the highest power. In the Puranas, it's slaying all the demons over and over again. No? Krishna puts out the Sudarshana and removes all those things which need to be removed. And then Satyanarayana as the Supreme, whose grace and whose love is what we are seeking for. But to get to that core, to that Antarayami, to that Paramatma, he's out here, he's on her chest. Yeah, if you look at Radha, you think here's Radha and the Ashtasakis, there's no Krishna, but if you look properly, in the right moment, I don't know if you can see it with the clothes on, but without the clothes you can see there's Krishna on her heart. Because Radha and Krishna are one. But all of this, all of what I said now, Radha and Krishna, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Ganesha, removing the obstacles, Vishvakshena, general of the army of the Lord, the directions governed by certain powers. You need them. pinch of faith in those statements. No? Or anybody sees Yamraj standing in the south, Indra standing in the north, Agnidev standing in the south and the northeast. You see those things? No, you don't see those things. You see what is happening when we do the prayer? No, at least I guess most of us don't see what is really happening. But there is something happening. This is an ancient knowledge which was being given from time immemorial. So there's, in the kata also, the first step, one part is faith. We need faith. Like we need faith in our spiritual path. We need faith. Everything is faith-based, no? Sometimes devotional path is considered, people make fun of it as if it's only sentimentalism and only faith-based, which is not true. But there is faith. But everything is faith-based. Every knowledge has a little faith in it. All of you are the children of your parents, aren't you? Do you know that or do you believe that? Huh? Who knows? Everybody's becoming like,
My mother knows.
now that you ask. I actually don't look like. My parents are no. So you see, we believe our parents are our parents because we were told they are our parents. It's not knowledge unless you remember how you came out from your mother's womb, or unless you made the DNA test and you have the scientific confirmation. It is a faith-based claim. I'm son or daughter of so-and-so. And then through life you go and you have certain experiences, you see certain similarities, you see how much they love you and take care of you, or whatever it be, and more you conclude this is the truth. Till you might come to the realization, and it's not like faith is transformed into knowing, into absolute knowing. So everywhere is faith. If you go to school and the teacher tells you in elementary school the square root of 16 is 4, then you say, okay. Okay, if you say so. You might still say so, because I see some faces, the what? And then you go on studying, and more you study, more you attain knowledge about maths, and more it becomes clear, okay, 4 by 4 is 6, okay, that's why, okay, now it makes sense, now I understand what before I only was believing, right? Similarly, on the spiritual path, there's some part which is faith-based. It has something to do with some experience, because I guess at least most of the people who have met Guruji, they have, or who meet their spiritual master, or who are on the spiritual path, but especially if you are getting initiation into a spiritual path with your master, it is not only because of faith. Like I told yesterday, I was asked in Detroit, when did I decide to become a Hindu? Like, I didn't decide to become a Hindu, I don't care being a Hindu. Yeah? Sorry, Jai Hind, but I don't care. I really don't care, like, call me as you want. I was looking for something, I met Paramahamsa Swami Vishwananda, and by this meeting, something inside was ignited. I had an inner experience. That experience is true as much as I cannot rationalize it, as much as I can't explain it, as much as I don't know what's going on. But it's a truth, right? Because experience is one form of knowledge. One source of knowledge is experience. Pratyaksha, as it is called in the philosophy, is one form of knowledge. If you see the fire, if you smell the smoke, and so you know there is fire. Somebody can tell you there was fire, you may believe it, but if you haven't experienced the fire, you don't know. And the same is with the Guru. There is some experience. There's some experience in this path. In the stories you can hear, there's always, it starts with the Brahmin who comes, or the woodcutter who comes and sees the Satyanarayana Puja and asks what this is, and the king says, this is the worship of Satyanarayana, this will remove all your suffering, and so on and so on. And what does he do? He says like, okay, I believe you. Let's try it. Let's do it. And so he goes and does the puja. So one thing is to have faith. Faith, what we see in those stories, obviously we see it on a level which is a little bit beyond. Another thing, what we say, once we have faith and we decide for a path, we start a path, another thing what we see in those stories is keep your word. If you make a vow, you have to keep your vow. Like whatever you vow, like Satyam, like we spoke yesterday about truthfulness, is the last leg. Dharma is standing in this Kali Yuga. If you remove that one, what is this sound? If you make a vow, you better keep your vow. Because you can see those stories again. The one who said, oh, I'm going to do the puja, and then I get the baby. Then you get the baby, and then he forgets about it. And then calamities come. And then only we remember. Like Guruji says, you only know what you have when you lose it. That's the only moment when you realize what you really have. Making a vow is a very strong, very powerful thing. It's between you and God. It's not with other people. And if you keep your vow, you will get the merit of it. So that is another point. Keeping one's words. If you don't keep your word, you might get in trouble. Another point which was shown in those stories is humility. The king who saw the children doing the puja, but out of contempt he thinks, I don't eat. Like I'm not eating the prasad from those children because I'm king. And what happens? He loses his kingdom and his 100 children die. It's a little bit extreme, but okay. I think we get the point. Sometimes they say like if you don't eat the Satyanarayana, the prasad, calamities will come, like in the stories I told. When we did in Italy ashram, we did Satyanarayana Puja and people wanted to join online. I said under your own risk, because I don't know how you're going to get the prasad. Because if you watch the puja, you don't eat prasad, I don't want that all your children die or whatever. But I guess there's also some meaning of just making a point. So faith is important. Once you have faith, once you choose something, once you make a choice in your path, keep that vow. That is, be responsible for what you stand for. Especially nowadays, it's one of the main qualities, because nowadays everything is Instagram. It's like instantaneous. Either I get what I want, otherwise I jump to the next one. But that's not how it works. Then humility. Walk your path with humility. Don't think to be whatever great. You are great. we are not better than anybody and we are not worse than anybody. In our essence, we are all the same. We are all one. But the mind and the ego always wants, everybody wants to be special, no? Everybody wants to be special. So watch out for the ego. It's always there. So humility is in those stories, and the concept of the community. The sharing of this knowledge, how one shares it with the other one, the Brahmin shares it to the woodcutter, and that one shares it to that one, and that one shares it to that one, and just helping each other out on the spiritual path. These are all elements which are contained in their stories. The puja is doing something. I hope we did everything proper, because in Italy, again, we did the puja and then rains came and earth slides and the ashram is like without electricity because the main cables were broken, and I told Guruji, he said, "What did you do wrong? You must have done something wrong. I'm sure you did something wrong during the puja." And I'm like, I thought I did something good. So I pray that we did everything right, like in case something bad happens. Wasn't me. Was it Aditya? Yeah.
Maybe we have snow.
And yeah, all those, like this is a reality, God is a reality, all those different powers are reality. If we see it, if we not see it, doesn't matter. Have the faith and just follow the faith. More and more we follow the path, more and more we practice if we have.
That's wonderful.
It just came, it's like I heard this.
I know which prasad we'll give you.
Have the faith, be committed to your path. In the beginning you did your sankalpa. You had your prayer from your heart. You remember what your prayer was? Yes or no?
Yes.
Always remember that. Always remember what your heart longs for. Like, what is it really wanting? What do you really want? Not what your mind wants. Like, what do you really, really want? Deep inside. And as you can see in those stories, he fulfills everything. It was not all just about realizing God. No, the one got riches, the one got the children. Like, everybody is in a certain part of their life and needs something and will get what they need. But you should never forget where you get it from. And finally, it will all be leading you to Him, closer to Him. But if you adapt the qualities of having faith, of being sincere, keeping the vows, like keeping the promises you make, being humble, being part of a community, sharing, helping each another, those qualities, they will automatically get you where you need to get. No? Like Guruji says, a Vaishnava is first and foremost an extraordinary, kind, happy, and helpful human being. That's first of all. Be grounded here in this world, get your stuff together. There's no need to fly around. No, if you can't manage this world, don't think that you can manage another world. That's what, it's very simple. Be kind, be loving, be happy, be helpful. That's what a Vaishnava first of all is. There's no point putting a big tilak and being, you know what I want to say. Yeah? It's not the tilak which makes you, it's not the malas which makes you, it's not the show which makes you, it's really the behavior which makes you. And if we all keep these qualities, then it becomes really a nice Sangha where we support each other and we grow in that love for God. And that's the whole purpose. Growing to know ourselves better, growing to be more loving, more kind. Better human beings first, and then more and more our true self, and then living our eternal love relationship with God. So, faith, honesty, humility, and sharing. Finish now with the arti, and then we have some prasad. You better have prasad. We stand up for the arti.